Just to respond to some of these, I mean, religion does try very, very hard to validate its ideas through debate. In the case of Protestantism, it's through the idea of the priesthood of all believers, which means there is no elite. Everyone has a say in trying to work out whether this idea is right, whether this is actually a legitimate interpretation of the Bible. It is about a deprofessionalization of the entire debate. It's not a sort of exclusive group who make the decisions. It's everyone. So I think there is a mechanism there. The point about the New Testament, I think there is a very important point there. The New Testament doesn't really use the word religion at all. It's not a New Testament word really in any sense of the word. The fundamental theme is faith. Faith is understood as a relational thing, not primarily a cognitive thing at all. There's this relationship that's established, and that then radiates outwards into how you behave, how you worship, and so on. And as you will know, writers like Dietrich Bonhoeffer, Karl Barth would say that religion may be stripped away, and faith is what's left behind, and that's what really matters. It accretes a religion. In other words, as a snowball might accrete further layers, but actually the real heart of the matter is this thing called faith. And again, that's why I'd love to see a much more nuanced understanding of what religion actually is, because it seems to me that is very, very significant here. The point about memes, well, my problem is that, again, I simply do not see the evidence for that. I mean, Professor Dennett says that Simon Conway-Morris's critique may be set to one side. As far as I'm concerned, it's still on the table, because there is this question: how on earth do we make rational adjudications in a communal sense if there are these things called memes? And it seems to me that raises some very interesting questions, which makes the idea of memes actually dispensable. And therefore, I think there's a further discussion to be had here. So it seems to me that is really a very important point to take further. But the final point I want to make in response to questions from the back is, it seems to me there's a very interesting question here, not so much about scientific subjectivity, but actually as to whether there are limits to the scientific method. In other words, whether there are going to be some things which actually by their very nature lie beyond what science can tell us. For example, what is the point of life? Or another question, is democracy better than fascism? I mean, these are live issues. And it's no criticism of science, I think, to say there may be limits to what it's saying. It's simply a question of working out what those limits are and working within them. My problem simply is with those who press way beyond them and then call the result science.
Well, that's an extremely thought-provoking evening. It's time to draw it to a close. Just briefly, on the religion point, my understanding is religion wasn't really used as a word until the Enlightenment.
It's a Latin word, religio, meaning things that bind people together, and primarily designated the Roman cult, which gave the Roman state a sense of identity.
But did they use the word religion?
Lucretius does. It's used, but it became the preferred word for what we observe.
Yeah. So many thanks for coming. Many thanks to Dan and to Alister for an absolutely fascinating evening, which I suspect, if anybody else is like me, will be going away and thinking about many of the issues that have come up this evening for a long time to come. I do urge you to buy the books. They're outside, and you'll have plenty more to think about after you've read them. So many thanks for coming, and many thanks to Dan and Alister.